Anybody have anything they want to say?
Yeah. Let's win this one for all the small schools who never had a chance to get here.
Okay.
If you ain't first, you're last. What the hell are you talking about? Well, you told me that day at school. I lived my whole life based on that. Well, now what the hell am I supposed to do? Well, that's $1 million question.
And most important, don't get caught up thinking about winning or losing this game. If you put your effort and concentration into playing to your potential, to be the best that you can be, I don't care what the scoreboard says at the end of the game, in my book, we're going to be winners.
You know, it's one thing to like this scene, but it's another thing to actually live it. If I was to judge this channel's success on subscribers, clout, or click-through rate, then this channel is losing big time. And I know some of the reasons why, all of which are my doing. And since that's the case, I don't mind telling you that I'm enjoying my so-called failures on YouTube and in life. And if you're doing the right thing, or just your own thing in your life, be it online or off, I hope you're enjoying your failures too. Because there's not a lot of open space for attention and success in a crowded material money game. And if you're super invested in it, you might win if you're willing to do certain things, and could win if you're willing to do anything. But even then, statistically speaking, most will lose, as most always do when we define success the way we do. That's no more pessimistic than telling someone that their chance of making it to the NBA are slim to none.
But that's, that's okay.
I doubt that the tens of people in earshot as of late will believe me when I say that I've enjoyed the process of creating videos on this platform. And despite my failures, I appreciate the mere chance to do so. You're just going to have to take my word on that. This will not be a rant about clicks, YouTube itself, or anything else, because I'm a rich man in all of the ways that matter most to me. So whatever happens here, I can take or leave. But today's topic isn't strictly about this little channel. It's about life itself and the so-called values of our culture. And what happens to us when we allow outside values and demands to become our own.
I'm sure there were lots of other good movies you were seeing instead of mine. Bad boys, bad boys. What you gonna do?
Whether or not this channel ever takes off in terms of numbers is a bit beyond my influence outside of certain things that are, for me, non-starters. Let me put it another way. Everyone is familiar with terms and conditions. Well, years ago, I decided to insist on some terms and conditions of my own, and that no promise of success, payoff, or permissions would get me to pursue certain things, say or do certain things, or cater to anyone or anything, promising to help me if only I do this or say that. The latest buzzword right now is enshittification. It's a clever term, and I know what it means, but it's not just companies building retroactively inferior products that are enshittifying our world. We are enshittifying the world and ourselves every time we compromise the things we do for personal gain. It happens, nugget by smelly nugget. Now, to the extent that we can maintain good things, there is an argument, a place for good enough. But that mentality often devolves into not very good at all. And when a culture does that for too long, well,
that's the result you're gonna get.
In terms of YouTube or similar platforms, enshittification can also mean catering to the room. Let me be clear. If this is the goal, if the aims are strictly material, then that's fine. And it's not even selling out, provided it isn't anything that's appreciably bad, because this also is not a rant against chasing money. But I think every feeling person might ask themselves if their work and life is mostly good. That's a great place to start. And if it is mostly good, then that is actually good enough, whether we're online or off. But if our aims are different, or change to include considerations beyond the metrics of material success, then we'll start to feel the gap between our ideals and the reality of succeeding in the way the media-driven world still defines success.
I gotta make sure all Daddy's hard work means something.
Tiana, your daddy may not have gotten the place he always wanted, but he had something better. He had love.
It's not that our society doesn't know the actual good things at all. It's just that it believes in and values money and success more, and at most any cost. And it's why the world looks the way it does.
They asked you to do something that made you feel dishonest, didn't they?
Someone will pay for our shortcuts, because someone always does. With few easy choices for a better life, how many of us in our day-to-day do things that make us feel dishonest, or contribute to things that are dishonest, or just subpar? And can we even tell the difference anymore? I think good enough has crept into far too many things, big and small. And I think it's enshittifying more than it ought to. Because there's an army of folks among us that will do most anything for immediate payoff, which is silly, considering we're going to die. And especially silly if you believe that following death, we'll take with us the impact and imprint of our actions, the videotape of our lives. And it'll serve as our condition and circumstance going forward. I wouldn't bet against that. So we might want to rethink what winning looks like today and tomorrow.
When I'm at the pearly gates, this will be on my videotape.
So there's a downstream price to being seen at any cost, or getting paid any which way, despite the real pressure we may feel to do so. And this is about more than content creation, because we are all the content creators of our own lives. I hope I'm coming through here, because in pursuing things, we can get a bit crazy. But it's a bit easier to appreciate the cost of your pursuits when you've grown old enough to have seen how others pay for theirs, and how paltry the payoff is when the sun goes down if you haven't tethered material success to something or some things that are actually good. And if you haven't done so, that is, made things sufficiently right, you might feel a bit uneasy in your day-to-day. That's your soul talking to you. It's asking you to change something, big or small. And if that's happening, you can be grateful you still have an internal guide worth listening to.
And you'd be happy as hell to get a record deal. Maybe your soul you'd sell to have mass appeal.
Some have pointed to the diminishing influence of Hollywood stars, and others are wrongly concluding that that points to a rejection of materialism, celebrity, and idolatry. But I don't see it that way. I think we've simply gotten bored of a certain brand of celebrity and have projected our worship onto the newer wave of influencers in the newest online arenas. They seem more genuine because they're not acting, right?
America first! America first! Get that through your head, dude! America first! America first! You heard that before?
Flashy new things aren't necessarily bad, but they're also not new. Names change, but the game's largely the same. We still elevate influence and material success. And you know what? To some degree, that's okay too.
Mr.
T.
Do you have a first name?
First name is Mr. Middle name is that period. Last name, T.
By the way, I say and will be saying that's okay a lot here, because I have a tendency to bring things up that, on the surface, seem like setups to crap on them, when what's actually happening is my somewhat detached account of things just as they are, good or bad. If you've watched even a few of the videos here, you're probably aware that this is my approach. And just so you know, it's not a gimmick, certainly not one that would win anyway. It just happens to be who I am. Shucks and f*** it is how I roll these days.
Whoa, man, you just ran through a big pile of dog shit! happens.
Never learned to swim. Can't catch the rhythm of the stroke.
Despite all of what was just said, I'm not pretending to be uninterested in views, but only under the right conditions. Again, it's a question of my particular terms and conditions. This is not a case of you can't fire me because I quit. I was never an employee in the first place. And that's also okay, because with or without the results, again, I enjoy doing this. The process is the reward. And as long as it stays that way, I'll continue to not mind doing this. And for anyone who might care, this is not an issue of me not knowing what needs to be done. I'm aware of the approach and the kind of things that could be presented to gain some traction. But first I'd have to ignore how yuck some of it is. Still, I'd like to think that this channel embodies the spirit of what YouTube was at its foundation. This is a one-man show here. Doing it right and keeping it authentic takes work, and quality work takes time. There's no AI writing or reading my scripts. And like most folks, this is being done in spare time. Channel 11's minor successes and failures are my own. I'm pleased with what's been done well, and more than a bit annoyed by the rest. If I had to come up with a slogan of what YouTube becomes when we limit it to the considerations of success or censorship or the demands of the algorithm, it would sound like this. YouTube. Here you can do most anything. Just don't. Another thing, and this is 100% on me. Speaking plainly, I'm just not very interested in being one of YouTube's little niches. A niche to the algorithm. At the same time, I get the algorithm, and I do respect the theoretical purpose and utility of it, even as I don't love how the switches seem to be switched. But I also won't whine at length about it. This is their platform. It promises crazy potential reach, and they can't, won't, and shouldn't please everyone, myself included. It's important to remember that this is an amazing time we're living in, and the tools we have and what we get to do is still, with all of its disappointments, pretty damn cool. There's no other time in recorded history that I'm aware of where people even had something like this to complain about, let alone do. We can choose to remember that as well, because I will. Now, just to prove that I'm not a fool, do I think this platform is serving primarily the interests of money and social engineers? Of course. But I also don't believe in moaning too long about the DJ or the people at the party when I decided to go to the party and I knew the kind of party I was going to and how the DJ was going to play.
It's like that and like this and like that and
I've worn different hats over the years, and among other things, did some front and back end website coding back in the day. Now, I'm not claiming to be some digital guru, but I do know some things. And most of what I hear, by way of advice, seldom surprises or impresses me much. It's not that none of it is valuable information. It's just that about 90% of the advice, even with changing algorithms, is common sense. It's what you'd expect if you're really paying attention. There's also a lot of general contradictory advice out there. Who should you believe? Who knows? But the worst of these advisors couldn't tell a meta tag from Metamucil. Like most things these days, it depends on the day of the week and the phase of the moon. Try and keep up with it if you want to have a fun time losing your mind.
I don't know. 4, 5, 6. In all honesty, I don't know.
2 days ago, I received 2 notices, one right on top of the other, both with release dates and days of each other. I'd share it, but I'm not here to hurt either channel. One talks specifically about the importance of consistent scheduled releases, and the other one below it described how consistent scheduled releases are killing your channel. Nice try, man. I do that just fine on my own.
The key to success is developers, 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 developers. Yes!
But to avoid condemning the developer niche, which, when done right, does provide value, there's at least one creator in the huge technical/strategic advice space that I check in on from time to time. Someone whose advice is grounded and considered, and who I respect for their approach. I won't mention them by name either, because to do so would be an endorsement they don't need, and probably, given my content and view counts, wouldn't want. And in defense of some of the reasoned advice that's fallen on me, I've deliberately avoided a lot of it for the reasons mentioned earlier. So I'm not surprised by my predictable conventional failure, but I do accept the results on my own terms, because there are bigger problems in the world.
What the hell are you talking about? You came in and you said, if you ain't first, you're last. Oh, hell, Ricky, I was high when I said that.
Whatever you do, do it good. Oh, do it.
I've given a fair bulk of my adult life and energy to the consideration of other people's needs and concerns. And depending on who they were and how they acted, I didn't mind doing so. But this here is my space. I mean YouTube. And if insisting on certain things means losing, fine. For me, that's still a notch better than the alternative. Because I'd rather lose by winning than win by losing. I recently did a video with a thumbnail that I knew would work relatively well for me and outperform my other videos, which it did. And even though that's a low bar, it did work. So why didn't I follow through with more of the same? That would have been the smart move. I also recently did a video on a French horror film that flopped. My video flopped, not the film. But you know what? I enjoyed making it. So there's that. There's millions of videos of folks doing and sharing the things they love. Some get views, others not so much. But it's all good when it's done in that spirit. And when my interests happen to align with the topics of mass appeal, that's just great. And I don't mind doing it a bit more. But it has to be done well to be worth doing. And it should include more than the run-of-the-mill, low-effort conventional takes that we have plenty of. This is all to say that I don't plan on locking myself out of my own process, or playing strictly for an elusive potential HJ of a larger crowd. Anyone who's ever been to a good live music show knows the upsides of a small venue. They're more intimate, and often the quality is a bit better, partly because the sound needn't be turned up so loud for everyone to hear it. So there are silver linings to losing situations like these. This dude gets it.
As king, you must find the goods in any situation.
The point of YouTube, if we're to believe its name, is that it's a reflection of its creators. I suppose I've foolishly taken that to heart.
I'll never be able to do that.
Well, you just started. I mean, you can't do it now.
No, that's not it. Just where am I going to see colors like that? Must be awful lucky to see colors like that. I'll bet they don't know how lucky they are.
Should I decide to switch things up or down, it'll only be if and when I want to. Because 1, I have a healthy form of low expectations, and because 2, YouTube and everyone else, pardon the grammar, don't owe me shit. I don't go around demanding or expecting things from the world or from other people. And fortunately for me, this is fun enough in itself, and I'll keep going on as long as circumstances allow. While I'd like to be able to serve the food up a bit faster, it has to be done in a way that doesn't turn the food into fast food. Because there's plenty of that out there already. By the way, this video here, I have little expectation regarding its performance.
And where you should not.
Asshole. Last week I talked about something else entirely, so this subject is bad strategy. The thumbnail might be semi-compelling and could draw a bit more. But this is not a topic that's likely a winner for a faceless channel like this, algorithmically speaking. And still, it was really fun to make. And that'll have to be enough. And for the few still listening and returning listeners, thank you. I'll return to a subject beside myself for the next one. Until then, allow me just one more minute. After all, you've made it this far, and this final section and scene is about you too. Possibly.
It happens.
Since my last new video on the Kinks' Rainy Day in June was a bit of a downer, today I'd like to end on a more positive note and share another cinematic example of something both popular and wise. Popular and wise. They almost sound like street names. And wouldn't we all like to live there? Sadly, there have been a few less cars at this particular intersection as of late. That too is okay. Because the overall message of today's video is similar to the predominant one in Jerry Maguire. That we can, at any time, define success on our own terms. Something that's particularly valuable and necessary in an increasingly competitive, materially driven world. We can move the goalposts. It's not cheating, but it's kind of a cheat code, and it's free. And you can do it even as you strive for your own kind of success, no matter how you define it. And this bit of wisdom from the film gets repeated in its clever closer, and will serve as today's closer as well. I love it, and I live it, and I hope you like it too. I'm feeling pretty good as I write this, and hope that comes through. Anyway, here's that scene. The character, Dicky Fox, is played by Jared Jusim, or Jussum, I'm not sure how you pronounce it. He's an attorney who served as counsel and executive VP for Sony Pictures until 2011. Real or otherwise, he's authorized to speak on my behalf. Take it away, Mr. Fox.
Hey, I don't have all the answers. In life, to be honest, I've failed as much as I've succeeded. But I love my wife. I love my life. And I wish you my kind of success.
And I do too. Thanks for listening.